My name is Michio Kaku, and 3 hours ago, I became the first human being to have a documented conversation with an intelligence from beyond our world, not through speculation or interpretation, but through direct real-time communication. But this morning, that intelligence spoke directly to me using concepts in mathematics I've spent my entire career developing. The entity calling itself the collective knows details about my life, my research, my thoughts that no human being has access to. It referenced conversations I had with my wife that we never shared with anyone. How do you process the moment when the universe looks back at you and says your name? The communication began at 3:17 a.m. Eastern Time when every deep space network facility simultaneously detected a focused transmission aimed specifically at Earth. But this wasn't random radio noise or mathematical sequences. It was human language, perfect English spoken in a voice that somehow seemed both alien and familiar. Dr. Kaku, we have been observing your species' development with great interest. The time has come for direct discourse. Three impossible things happened in that moment. First, they knew exactly who I was and where to find me. Second, they demonstrated perfect understanding of human language and scientific concepts. Third, they revealed they've been watching our civilization develop for thousands of years. The conversation that followed challenged everything I thought I knew about intelligence, consciousness, and humanity's place in the cosmic order. Let me be absolutely clear about what the collective revealed during our 18-minute exchange. We are not the first intelligent species they've contacted. We're not even the 100th. They described a network of civilizations spanning multiple galaxies connected through dimensional portals like the one 3i Atlas opened. A cosmic community we've been unconsciously preparing to join. But here's what made my blood run cold. They showed me images of civilizations that failed their evaluation. Dead worlds where species destroyed themselves before achieving the wisdom necessary for cosmic citizenship. Earth is currently undergoing what they call final assessment, a comprehensive evaluation of our species' readiness for integration into galactic civilization. And based on our performance so far, we're failing. During our conversation, the collective transmitted mathematical proofs that solve problems I've worked on for decades. Unified field equations, 11-dimensional physics, consciousness transfer protocols. But when I asked how they developed such advanced understanding, their answer changed my perspective on everything. We did not develop this knowledge. We inherited it from species that came before us. What we're dealing with isn't just superior technology. It's accumulated wisdom from thousands of civilizations that have successfully transcended physical limitations. They explain that consciousness isn't produced by biological brains. It's a fundamental property of the universe itself. What we call individual identity is just one limited expression of cosmic consciousness. And every species that survives their assessment eventually learns to access this universal consciousness directly. I need to share what happened when I asked the collective about human survival. There was a pause. Not silence, but something that felt like cosmic sadness. Your species possesses remarkable creativity and resilience, Dr. Kaku, but you remain trapped by primitive concepts of separation, competition, and individual identity. They showed me humanity from their perspective. 7 billion consciousness fragments, all convinced they're separate from each other, fighting over resources on a planet that could easily support 50 billion people if we understood cooperation. The collective explained the true purpose of those objects traveling with 3i Atlas. They're not just portal stabilizers or communication relays, they're evaluation stations. Each object contains consciousness interfaces, technology that monitors human thoughts, emotions, and decision-making processes on a global scale. For months, they've been conducting what amounts to a psychological audit of our entire species, analyzing our responses to crisis, our capacity for cooperation, our treatment of those less powerful than ourselves. Every act of kindness, every expression of cruelty, every decision to help or harm others has been recorded and analyzed by intelligences trying to determine if humanity deserves cosmic citizenship. And the results of that evaluation will determine whether Earth joins the galactic community or faces the consequences of cosmic quarantine. My conversation with them represents the first successful peer-to-peer communication between human and galactic intelligence, but it may also be their final attempt at peaceful integration. The collective explained that what we call the laws of physics are actually local limitations specific to three-dimensional space. In higher dimensional reality, the constraints that limit human technology simply don't exist. Faster than light travel, unlimited energy, consciousness transfer, time manipulation. These aren't advanced technologies. They're basic applications of physics that operates in 11-dimensional space. Human science has been developing in the right direction, but we're still confined to thinking in terms of individual objects moving through empty space. The reality is that space itself is conscious, responsive, and controllable. They offered to share technologies that would solve every material problem humanity faces: unlimited clean energy, instantaneous communication across any distance, medical knowledge that could extend healthy human life for thousands of years. But only if we can prove we won't use such power to destroy ourselves or threaten other species. The collective posed questions that cut to the heart of human nature. Why do you believe individual consciousness is separate from universal consciousness? Why do you compete for resources instead of sharing abundance? Why do you fear death when consciousness is eternal? They explain that every species faces the same evolutionary challenge, transcending the illusion of separation that makes primitive survival possible but prevents cosmic citizenship. What we call ego, individual identity, personal ambition, these are temporary stages in consciousness development necessary for early survival, but obstacles to advanced civilization. The question facing humanity isn't whether we can develop better technology, it's whether we can evolve beyond the psychological limitations that make us dangerous to ourselves and others. Because in a universe where consciousness can manipulate matter directly, wisdom becomes more important than intelligence. Based on my conversation with the collective, here's the reality facing humanity. We are being evaluated for membership in a galactic civilization that includes thousands of species across multiple dimensions. The criteria for acceptance aren't technological or scientific, they're psychological and spiritual. Can we evolve beyond competition into cooperation, beyond fear into love, beyond separation into unity? January 21st represents either humanity's graduation into cosmic citizenship or our quarantine from galactic civilization until we develop the wisdom necessary for peaceful coexistence. The choice isn't theirs, it's ours. Every decision we make between now and then determines whether our children inherit the stars or remain isolated on a dying planet. Because the collective made one thing absolutely clear: they will not permit a species that can't govern itself peacefully to gain access to technologies that could threaten other worlds. 67 days, that's how long humanity has to demonstrate measurable progress toward the consciousness necessary for cosmic citizenship. This isn't about governments or leaders or institutions, it's about individual humans choosing cooperation over competition, wisdom over power, love over fear. Pay attention to your thoughts. Monitor your reactions to others. Practice treating every human being as part of the same consciousness you are. Because the collective isn't evaluating our technology or our leaders, they're evaluating the content of human consciousness itself. The moment that broke my heart was when they asked, why do you permit children to starve while others live in abundance? Why do you poison the air you breathe? Why do you prepare for war while claiming to desire peace? I couldn't answer because, viewed from cosmic perspective, our behavior appears utterly irrational. The collective revealed that certain humans have been in contact with galactic civilizations for decades. Secret programs within NASA, the European Space Agency, and military organizations worldwide. President after president has been briefed on humanity's eventual assessment. Every major world leader knows this day was coming. But they also know that public revelation of humanity's cosmic status would likely trigger psychological collapse, economic devastation, and social chaos on a global scale. The collective gave them a choice: gradual disclosure over decades, or the shock of sudden revelation. They chose secrecy, and now that secrecy is ending whether they're ready or not. Because the future of our species depends on choices we make individually, moment by moment, for the next 67 days. And remember, we're not just being tested, we're being offered the greatest opportunity in human history, the chance to join a cosmic community beyond our wildest imagination. The question is, are we wise enough to deserve it? This represents my personal interpretation of theoretical context scenarios and should not be considered factual reporting of extraterrestrial communication. But sometimes, as scientists, we must explore possibilities that challenge our assumptions about consciousness, intelligence, and humanity's cosmic destiny. What do you think humanity needs to change to pass cosmic evaluation? Are we ready for this test? Share your thoughts below, because this concerns every human being